repudiation of Obama could there be than to be followed by Donald Trump? Donald Trump has promised to roll back much of what President Obama has accomplished, and he just stands for a spirit of governing that's completely different from what President Obama has brought to America.
Well, let's talk about President Obama's governing and some specifics. I mean, when you look at the president and his what his supporters would say accomplishments, you have to think about Obamacare, and of course before Obamacare there was an attempt at Hillary Care, right? I mean, she was very much part of that movement early on.
And Obamacare and Hillary Care, both bad words, that have been hurled at them by their political opponents.
Yeah.
Look, he has acknowledged from the earliest days of the passage of Obamacare that this was a legacy item for him. He knew it would be big. We've all seen it that way. Earlier this year, in an interview, he said that when the Affordable Care Act was passed, it was the best day of his presidency. But he's also acknowledged that going forward, the law still needs to be tweaked. It needs to be improved. Give a listen to this. It's from an interview 2 years ago with Telemundo.
It was true for Social Security. It was true for Medicare. Some of the same arguments were made against those programs when they first started off.
It went down, but it turns out that parental permission is not required in Douglas County and at most school districts. CPR's Jenny Brundine has that story, and there's a lot more Colorado news at cprnews.org. This is Colorado Public Radio.
My name is Brian Wojciech, and I am a member of Colorado Public Radio. There's a lot of major cities that don't have 24-hour Costco, that don't have 24-hour news. We have that option. To have both those options is just wonderful, and so it's important to me to continue to have that in the city I'm living. Support Colorado Public Radio now. Just go to cpr.org.
Support for NPR comes from NPR member stations and from CarMax, a nationwide retailer of used vehicles where people can buy or sell their car, offering written vehicle appraisals good for 7 days. Learn more at CarMax.com. CarMax, drive what's possible. And from K-12, providing online education options for students in grades K through 12 by offering tools to prepare for college and success beyond high school. Learn more at k12.com/works.
This is Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm David Green.
And I'm Renee Montaigne. Chicago in the 1970s and 80s had a notorious group of police officers.
A regime which has had the effect of prolonging the Civil War, whereas we had hoped that they would promote a political solution and transition to put an end to the Civil War.
Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Joe Dunford was asked at the same news conference about reports that Russia hacked the Democratic National Committee's computers. He did not dismiss those reports.
We're well aware of state actors, to include Russia, that have attempted to penetrate our network.
Still, Dunford insisted the deal being pursued with Russia on Syria is not founded on trust.
There'll be specific procedures and processes in any transaction we might have with the Russians that would account for protecting our operational security.
The deal's details remain under wraps. Secretary Kerry says more homework still has to be done, what he calls a series of quiet meetings.
In order to make certain that the doubts expressed by Secretary Carter, by Chairman Dunford, or the doubts expressed by President Putin or the Russians are going to persistent. We all need to get out and vote for Democrats up and down the ticket, and then hold them accountable until they get the job done. That's right, feel the burn. If you want more justice in the justice system, then we've all got to vote not just for a president, but for mayors and sheriffs and state's attorneys and state legislatures. That's where the criminal law is made. And we've got to work with police and protesters until laws and practices are changed. That's how democracy works. If you want to fight climate change, we've got to engage not only... Look, Hillary's got her share of critics. She has been caricatured by the right and by some on the left. She has been accused of everything you can imagine and some things that you cannot. But she knows that's what happens when you're under a microscope for 40 years. She knows that sometimes during those 40 years she's made mistakes, just like I have, just like we all do. That's what happens when we try. That's what happens when you're the kind of citizen Teddy Roosevelt once described. Not the timid souls who criticize from the sidelines, but someone who is actually in the arena, who strives valiantly, who errs, but who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement. Hillary Clinton is that woman in the arena. She's been there for us, even if we... Yes, we can. Not yes, she can, not yes, I can. Yes, we can. There's been a lot of talk in this campaign about what America has lost. People who tell us that our way of life is being undermined by pernicious changes and dark forces beyond our control. They tell voters there's a real America out there that must be restored. This isn't an idea, by the way, that started with Donald Trump. It's been peddled by politicians for a long time, probably from the start of our republic. And it's got me thinking about the story I told you 12 years ago tonight, about my Kansas grandparents and the things they taught me when I was growing up. See, my grandparents, they came from the heartland. Their ancestors began settling there about 200 years ago. I don't know if they had their birth certificates, but they were there. And valued were traits like honesty and hard work, kindness, courtesy, humility, responsibility, helping each other out. That's what they believed in. True things. Things that last. The things we try to teach our kids. And what my grandparents understood was that these values weren't limited to Kansas. They weren't limited to small towns. These values could travel to Hawaii. They could travel even to the other side of the world, where my mother would end up working to help poor women get a better life, trying to apply those values. My grandparents knew these values weren't reserved for one race. They could be passed down to a